Yeah, firstly, thank you for having us. I'm very excited for this conversation. My fiance is infatuated with Ferrero, so looking forward to a couple of free ones afterwards to take home for
I'll see what I can do. Sorry I didn't bring enough for everybody in the class today. I didn't cover them everything.
No problem. Well, introducing myself, my name is Mike Bailey and I work at Passionfruit. And a quick plug for Passionfruit. We're not a produce or a fruit company. We're the fastest growing marketing freelancer platform. So we connect marketing teams like those at Mars and Wayfair with highly vetted marketing freelancers across the full marketing stack and specialisms. So we believe freelancers are the future and looking forward to chatting with more of you later on about all of that. But I'm not the star of the show today. Susan Burris is, who is the marketing director for premium chocolate innovation at Ferrero. So we'd love for you to introduce yourself firstly and tell us a bit more about the brand and the business.
Sure. So hi, I'm Susan Burris. I'm, like you said, marketing director of innovation at Ferrero. I've been with Ferrero about 4 years. Prior to that, I kind of grew up in the big CPG industry. I worked at Mars Wrigley for a while. I did work at Mondelez for a while, not at the same time as a friend over there. But I've been with Ferrero for about 4 years, and I really enjoy it. I've started off on premium chocolate, been on premium chocolate the whole time, and I actually just launched the bars in the United States. So if anybody's seen the Ferrero Rocher actual bar, you're welcome.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw in the news recently you've opened an R&D factory in Chicago recently as well.
We have. We're really excited about that expansion into Chicago. We are a global organization, and we do have headquarters here in Parsippany, but we also have a very big presence in Chicago where our cookies business is. So having that extra innovation perspective is going to really be helpful for us for the future.
Amazing. So I suppose innovating and adapting to changing consumer trends and so forth in a dynamic world, how does that work within your space?
Excellent question. We don't have a Michael Lampert, but we do have a data research organization within Ferrero, and marketing works really lockstep with them. The qualitative and quantitative research that we get to analyze consumer trends and things that are going on in the marketplace is really important because we can't do anything in a silo. And that's how we got to Ferrero Rocher bars as well. So understanding that there's an opportunity in the marketplace, looking at syndicated data to see that there's a segment that we're not participating in Ferrero Rocher with bars. So that has allowed us to create that impetus to be able to start that conversation for innovation.
Amazing. And I suppose we all know that the world is changing rapidly, and having a structure around innovation and driving insights to drive the roadmap for what's coming next is important. But how do you balance that with the short-term needs of an agile changing market where moments pop up that Ferrero wants to be engaged in? How does that work within the business to maintain that agility?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think, Ferrero is a private company. We're a family-owned company. And so for a lot of what we call the legacy brands, we don't have as much agility, per se. There is a Mr. Ferrero out there. His name is on our product. So from that perspective, but we also have what we call local jewels. We actually bought a lot of the Nestle confectionery. So Butterfinger, Crunch, 100 Grand, Baby Ruth. We actually bought a lot of the Keebler cookies business too. So for a lot of those, they have a lot more ability to be agile and really focus on a lot of those short-term innovative things. And so what they do is really look at what's happening in social media. They're able to really turn around a lot of things a lot faster than we could necessarily with a name that has Ferrero on it. But as an example, I know that Butterfinger, they're right now sponsoring Halloween. They're like the official candy bar of Spirit Halloween. And so for them, that's something that's really timely and really important for them to make sure that they are front of mind to the consumer at this really important time.
Amazing. And I suppose we spoke yesterday or this morning about brand heritage and the brand promise that you have. And we heard Inga from Beam Suntory this morning talk about brand truths and brand roots. What does the brand promise mean, and how do you maintain that story throughout as you meet adapting market needs?
I think that's an excellent question because the brand DNA is the 100% most important thing that we do as a marketer at Ferrero. At Ferrero Rocher, our brand promise is to elevate any meaningful moment into a celebration, and that's what we do. So we take a look at our current core product catalog is really about gifting. It's about hosting, it's about decor, it's about celebrating. And so by looking at the opportunity that we had in just those syndicated data, but we're not in the bar segment. Well, how does that fit with Ferrero Rocher? How do we make sure that Ferrero Rocher can be part of a bar? How do we turn that praline, that round chocolate gold covered ball, into a candy bar? And so what we did was we really took a little step back and made sure we understood what our DNA was. It's all about texture. It's all about the multi-sensorial experience. It's all about hazelnut. So those are all some of the recipes that it really needs to take to be able to be a Ferrero Rocher. So we were able to take those 3 ingredients and turn those into a chocolate bar.
Innovation at its finest. And I suppose when you start to look at innovating or extending the brand into new products that are new to the business, that takes a culture of risk-taking, I suppose.
Yep.
What are some of the lessons you've learned throughout that time? How might you go about innovation differently as a result of this big step for Ferrero?
You know, that's an excellent question. I know when we were creating the bars, you could imagine that with a product that has someone's name on it, that we have to get it right. There was a team of 50 people who tested over 300 recipes. So we had significant trial and error to make sure that we were able to get the right product out to the consumer in the best possible format. So for us, it's all about trial and error, making sure that we get it right. And did I answer your question?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So many learnings to take away, and I suppose, can you give us a sneak peek into what else is coming on the innovation line, or the insights as to what we can expect in store?
So for the lucky people in this room, I will give you a sneak peek into some of the innovation that's coming. We don't normally do that, but it's going to be coming out at Christmas time. So we actually have a new assorted box of chocolate called Collection Brand Assortment that you'll be seeing in the grocery store recently, and that's really all hinged on the idea that consumers want variety, and they want variety in their chocolate and their experiences. You know, coming out of the pandemic, one of the things that we saw was that people really look at affordable indulgence as a way to treat themselves. And so for us having that, creating another assorted box product out there for consumers, we're really expecting that to do well.
Amazing. And I suppose as part of that, you're looking to build long-term relationships and loyalty with a lot of these consumers over time. Are there any notable success stories or campaigns that are driving towards that you can speak to?
Great question. I don't remember.
I believe channel strategy has been important to you, so leveraging Instagram to target different demographics.
Thank you so much.
Perhaps.
I get nervous up here on the stage, so I forgot the answer to my question.
You're doing fine.
So one of the things that we've experienced in data and looking at what's out there in the world, Ferrero Rocher really over-indexes in premium chocolate to younger consumers. If you look at all the different age groups of people who buy and consume premium chocolate, they tend to skew older, like 55 plus, 65 plus. And so for us, we're actually over-indexed for that younger consumer. So what we did was we really invested in our Instagram. So talking to about what Caitlin earlier was talking about, going where they are, and that's what we did. So really we over-invested in our Instagram platform. In the last year, I think we grew our followers 35%. And in the last 2 years, we almost tripled our amount of followers on Instagram just by focusing a little bit more on where the fish are.
I suppose Julian and Jason and the Snap team in the room are probably thinking there's probably a great opportunity on Snap here, but no, well done on the Instagram growth. That's there's plenty to be done there. So I suppose, and more out of curiosity, what type of themes or insights were driving you towards the younger generation to target them to grow that audience as a keen advocate for
Yeah, I think another thing that we also do in terms of trying to reach our younger audience is we have been veering away from a little bit of what the global organization has been doing. I think Michael was talking about how a lot of bigger CPG companies, they have a template that they follow in media, and you have to have TV as being your number one thing. Well, we've been, pushing the buck a little bit here in the US and really focusing on digital a little bit more than a lot of our other countries around the world, and it's really paid off in terms of success. Something else that we've been doing is, we're a very occasion-based brand, so we have a lot of, you may know it's at Christmas time or holiday time, but we're also getting into Valentine's Day a lot. So we see a lot of men who really enjoy purchasing Ferrero Rocher at Valentine's Day. I wonder why, especially like the day before or the day of Valentine's Day. So we've actually been putting a lot of energy behind targeting men specifically at Valentine's Day to really increase our overall consumer base and drive that relevance and loyalty.
Amazing. And sort of touching on one of the earlier points, the market's changing. Sort of curious around those future marketing strategies you have in mind to maintain that brand heritage moving forward as you want to innovate into some of these newer channels and your audiences.
Yeah, again, it's all about maintaining your brand DNA and really understanding who you are and where you want to go. Ferrero Rocher is all about turning your moment into a moment of celebration, and so that's what we do. And so everything that we do is going towards that moment. So like launching bars as an example, this is about bars are typically eating as like a me moment. A moment to sit back and relax and like veg out after a long stressful day. But we're not about that. We're actually the bar that someone can help celebrate their day with at the end of the day. The texture, the sensorial, that's an active eating experience that a lot of other bars don't have. So this is what we are focusing on, is making sure that everything we do brings that celebration back into the world for people.
Amazing. It's part of everyone's everyday life, not just the big moments throughout the year.
Exactly.
I suppose, chocolate and sugar and that type of market has gone through a bit of a change over the past couple of decades. But how do you see this market shaping up in terms of challenges, opportunities for Ferrero over the next 5-10 years?
I think for us, we've learned some lessons coming out of the pandemic. I think we all have. But one of the things that we have seen is that there's this whole rise of affordable indulgence and people really premiumizing and treating themselves to the small treats. I know that there's a lot of inflationary things happening in the economy right now, but what we've seen over time is that premium chocolate is actually something that's benefited from those kinds of things. We've actually grown, premium chocolate has grown 16 times mainstream chocolate since the beginning of the pandemic. So I think that is something that we'll continue to keep an eye on, of course, as we move forward. Being a premium chocolate brand, pricing is always something we have to be in consideration of. But overall, I think, the whole rise of affordable indulgence is something that we're just going to be able to take that move forward.
That lipstick effect, isn't it? It's the little win in someone's day when things are challenging. So, we'll open up for questions in a moment, but would love for you to leave one takeaway for this audience as to innovation. What have you learned over your sort of time in Ferrero, and what would you add to again differently, or do differently moving forward?
Yeah, I've been marketing a while, and launched brands, I have discontinued brands, and I've done everything in between. And I think one of the things that really drives success of a brand is being true to its DNA and true to who it is. And so with Ferrero Rocher, that's why that brand has been around since the 80s. And we are continuing to grow. We're at our highest household penetration we've ever had right now. And so that's something we can continue to build upon because we have that DNA of who we are. And as we continue to innovate, we'll expand that even further.
Amazing. Great insights. Opening up to the floor, are there any questions from anyone or any build-ons?
What do you attribute growth of premiumization?
What do I attribute the growth of premiumization to?
Yeah.
I think it really comes down to people, when they don't have a lot of money or a lot of anything, they want something to make them feel special. And something that's going to make them feel special is not just your everyday chocolate you can get, anywhere at the convenience store, but something that is going to make them feel a little bit more special by having that.
Any further questions from the floor?
I answered everybody's question. That's fantastic.
Nailed it. All right, well, that's a wrap. So thank you, Susan. Really appreciate you sharing your insights.